Well, good evening. I'm Bill Snyder, Sports Information Director at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, and welcome to another edition of Bulldog Blitz. With me, as always, is Gulf Coast head coach Steve Campbell. And as the kids say, it's all good tonight after last night's thrilling 10-3 win over arch rival Pearl River. The Bulldogs, coming off that loss last week, go to Poplarville and get a win over the undefeated Wildcats. And anytime you get a win over Pearl River, it's a good thing, but especially going to their house and win one of the probably the best games in recent memory in this long and storied rivalry, Coach.
Yeah, it was a good win, you know, especially coming off of last week's setback to get back in the winning mode. And that was number one. And then, you know, number two, Pearl River's big rival, South Division game, and an outstanding football team, not to mention they're the number 6 team in the country. So it was a huge win for us and one that we definitely needed, and I was very proud of the young men's effort.
And you did a little something different this week, broke out the white pants to wipe the slate clean. Kind of a fun thing for the guys, but hey, it works, so I imagine we're probably going to see those a few more times.
Yeah, we'll see the white pants again. Those have been in storage for the last 3 years. We'd been pretty successful wearing the blue, and not that I'm superstitious or anything, but no, it has nothing to do with it. It's all turnovers, kicking game, and control the line of scrimmage. But you know, sometimes what you wear might have something to do with it. So anyway, we made the switch to the white pants, and it came out well.
It sure did. We'll take a look at Gulf Coast in the white pants, taking on Pearl River. All the action, an intense game over at Dobie Holden Stadium in Poplarville. We'll take a look at that and more coming up right after this. You're watching Bulldog Blitz on WLOX. And welcome back to Bulldog Blitz. It's Gulf Coast and Pearl River from Poplarville. A lot of electricity in the air as soon as you walked in the stadium. Big crowd on both sides, and this is what it's about. This is why the kids come here. This is why they go to Pearl River. A lot of fun. Yeah,
it was. Last night was an excellent venue for college football. There were a great crowd. Both bands were playing loud. It was an excellent atmosphere and a lot of fun. And like I say, that's the reason you come here, is to play in games like that in a situation like that. So it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, not exactly a lot of offense, but that didn't matter. It was still exciting. The offense we did have in the first half came on a really nice drive at the beginning of the game, finished off by Sean Broccoli's 49-yard field goal, making it 3-0. Vic Ballard had a nice run on that. So did Jamal Young. Got some positive momentum going.
Yeah, we did. You know, we went on a 12-play drive there and wasn't able to punch it in, but we did capitalize and get 3 points on the board. Sean hit a 48-yarder, which is, you know, you can't take that for granted. That is a 48-yard field goal, which is big at any level. And Sean drilled it through, which gave us some confidence, gave us a lead, and that was huge for us. A lot of big plays. Vic Ballard had a big run. And I was proud of the way the offensive line, you know, came up, and so it was a good drive for us.
Now, Pearl River, their only offense of the first half, also came on a field goal. And once again, just like last week, Emil Jones and the Pearl River offense, they were bombing it, but secondary held tough. A lot of good defensive plays. You know, this was one of those where each team was trying to impose their will on each other. We were trying to run the ball, hold the clock, play smash mouth. They're trying to air it out, and the clash of styles makes it interesting.
It really did. You know, and I can't say enough about the job that our defense did. You know, the front line got pressure. Chris White got pressure. Horatio Crawford, Malcolm, Wayne Dorsey really showed up and got some good pass rush. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about, you know, Damian Jackson played outstanding in the secondary. Ira Smith played great. Damon Washington, you know, all those guys really played well. Leon Armstrong made a couple of great tackles where, you know, he's out there in one-on-one situations and makes, you know, made a great open field tackle on one that prevented a touchdown, and you know, just the job that the defensive staff, Coach Moore, Coach Davis, the defensive coordinator, and Coach Dorsett Davis put together a great plan, and The secondary really kept them intact because they kept bombing and bombing and bombing. But those guys never gave in. They kept holding tight, even though, you know, offensively we were struggling to put points on the board. Pearl River's got the #1 ranked defense in the conference, and but they kept hanging in there and kept us in the ball game. So really proud of their effort.
Now, some offense had happened late in the first half. Jamal Young broke loose on that long 53-yard run. The next play, Irvin Moore scores a touchdown. They call it back for holding, so that breaks the momentum, and Sean misses a field goal. And then you're kind of thinking, I hope we don't start having this, you know, end zone, red zone trouble.
Right. So, you know, still a lot of the things are. The ugly things are still sticking their head up. You know, we get down there, we're not able to punch it in and capitalize and put teams away. You know, and this is 2 weeks in a row we've got down to the red zone and haven't been able to capitalize. So, you know, that's, as coaches, we need to go back and reevaluate what we're doing once we get down there. We got to make the play. We got to hold on to the football, execute, not commit the big penalty, and then as a coaching staff, you know, I got to go back and I got to evaluate what can we do to help put our kids in a better situation to where we're not in that situation. So there's a lot of things we need to evaluate right there.
Yeah, and that made it 3-3 at halftime. After that missed field goal, by the way, by Broccoli, Damian Jackson had the interception, but then there's a fumble as coach was elaborating on. So it's 3-3 at halftime. One of those tough defensive games, and in the second half, more of that will-imposing style with the defense holding tough. They're trying to bomb it. We're running the ball, but it was kind of refreshing to see another team have trouble with special teams. They missed a couple of field goals, and you know the game was still 3-3 heading down the stretch. It was a tight football game, which, you know, we didn't expect anything less going over there to Pearl River. A great program, a lot of great athletes, excellent coaching. So it's going, you know, it's been a battle every time we played them. You know, we beat them one time here, 55-47, in a offensive shootout. There were over 1,200 something yards of offense, and you know, and in this one. It was a defensive struggle. Both defenses played outstanding. Ours stepped up and made more plays than theirs did. That's exactly what happened. Now, of course, the big part of the game late in the fourth quarter, as things are still in a stalemate, the Bulldogs go on a Steve Campbell special, a 16-play, 75-yard drive. And that one was capped off by, in the jumbo package, Greg Jenkins muscling his way in to make it 10-3. And after all that struggle, you finally punch it in. And that drive reminded us all of the Jones game last year when we were up at Jones and had that long drive to end the game. And those are the ones you got to love. Yeah,
you know, as much as we had struggled all night on offense against the #1 defense in the conference statistically, to be able to go on a 16-play, 75-yard drive, punch it in, just keep it on the ground and hammer them, really showed a lot of resilience in the offensive line, the backs, quarterbacks, everybody contributed. From Vic, Jonathan DeFlanders started off the drive, Jamal came in, Irvin came in, you know, Vic in the jumbo, and we got Chris White and Aaron Nelson over from the defensive side to help us in the jumbo package. So it was really a team effort there.
Yeah, that was nice. So Pearl River got the ball back with about 1:20 to go. They hit a long pass, and we're thinking, you know, we might be headed to overtime here. They got a little momentum. And then Dorsey comes up with the sack to end it, and just like that, it was over. And they'd been after Emil Jones all night, and once they got to him and wrapped him up, that was the biggest play by far.
It was. Well, you know, Wayne Dorsey, he's got a lot of reach. He's 6'8" and got long arms, and a very good first move off the football. Got a big sack for us. Got great pass rush. We'd been getting pressure on him all night, but that play, you know, I was afraid that they were going to be able to throw a pass or two up in the end zone anyway, you know, which they'd been throwing it deep all night with very little success. But you never wanted to come down to that, and the pass rush did a great job. We put him on the ground, and that ended the game.
They were off balance, and Gulf Coast wins it 10-3. The #10 team in the nation beats the #6 team in the nation. So you got to figure maybe we'll go up in the polls next week, and we'll find out about that next week. Coming back after this next break, we're going to take a look at the Gulf Coast softball team. But going into the break, we'll hear what Coach Campbell had to say to his team after the game last night. You're watching Bulldog Blitz here on WLOX.